The thought of staying married to a cheater. My best friend Bill Jackson and I went to a golf tournament near Bloomsburg. There we participated in a fundraiser for his alma mater's basketball team. Two of his old fraternity buddies met us, and we managed to complete 18 holes, 3 strokes short of the norm. That was good enough to place third in our third tournament. I've never been versed in scoring these tournaments, but I knew enough to know that we excelled among the mediocre. It was as if we had come third smartest in the dumbest class in school, except we were given several packages of golf balls for our efforts. Bill and I were sipping a couple beers before heading home when we struck up a conversation with 2 guys from Harrisburg. We discussed important topics like baseball and soccer, and then talked about what we do for a living. Both Bill and I were surprised to hear that one of the guys, Jack Andrews, was the CEO of Wegmans. Our wives worked for that company, but in the Scranton branch. Jack worked in Mechanicsburg. "You're both from northeastern Pennsylvania. From Scranton, aren't you?" Jack inquired. "A few weeks ago, I attended a company meeting in Syracuse and ran into a blonde-haired woman from the Scranton branch. She was stacked like a brick latrine. That is, roughly speaking, all in place." Bill looked at me and smiled. We both realized that he must have run into Bill's wife, Gwen, and she must have impressed him. But the same was true of every man who had ever seen her. Gwen is a beauty. Bill turned to Jack. I was pretty sure he was going to mention that Jack must be referring to his wife before he said anything inappropriate about Gwen, but it was too late. I was afraid Bill was about to smash that asshole's head in with a beer bottle, so I put my hand on his shoulder. I couldn't blame him for that, but as a friend, I had a concern to try to keep him out of jail. I felt Bill relax a little. "You're talking about a real cheater, Jack. Did you happen to hear that little wench's name?" Bill asked quietly. "Did you hear her name? Hell, we all had to wear those stupid stickers with our names on them all day. I remember her name very well because she put the sticker on her blouse, right above her left breast," Jack continued. "I spent a lot of time looking at her name tag during meetings, and if I hadn't sat next to her, I probably would have slept through most of the day as usual. I'm going there for a chance to have some fun and hit on some strange girl. That's why I go to these meetings, and management insists I attend them to keep my job." "We should get on the road, Bill." I quickly hurried my friend, hoping to get the hell out of here before things get any worse, if that's possible, of course. "Do either of you know Gwen Adams?" Jack asked, ending my dreams of escaping without incident. "That was her name. If you ever met her, you'd never forget her. If you ever get a chance to sleep with this chick, make sure you make her." 2 minutes later, we were sitting in Bill's Toyota Corolla, heading east. For the first few minutes, I watched his driving carefully for fear of getting into an accident. Bill seemed to be driving pretty well, although he was going a bit fast. If it had been me, I probably would have hit the floor by now, hoping to get as far away as possible before Jack came to his senses. There was blood on Bill's knuckles, but not too much, considering the impression they'd made on Jack's mouth. I'm surprised he hadn't broken his hand or cut his fingers to the bone on that asshole's teeth yet. I remembered seeing the tooth lying on the bar counter as I pulled Jack away from the dumb bastard's prostrate body. I couldn't help but admire Bill's confidence, remembering the altercation at the bar a few minutes ago. Bill had calmly told Jack that he must have mistaken that blonde for his mother. He even told Jack that the man was a weak-minded bastard and that he was lying about Gwen. Naturally, Jack felt the need to defend his honor and punched Bill right in the chin. As a young man, this was one of Bill's favorite things to do. Several times I saw him almost drool until some guy hit him first. Then Bill would smirk and brush his offender's face. Bill was the youngest of 4 sons and grew up fighting constantly. He had an iron jaw and a devastating right uppercut, something Jack had learned the hard way. It was nice to see that Bill still kept in shape, even after pulling the strain of a nearly 20-year marriage. It only took Bill one punch to finish the whole fight. I could see that Bill wasn't in the mood to talk, so I kept my mouth shut and watched the scenery, mulling over the situation. We introduced ourselves to them as Tom Casey and Bill Kuntz. Jack even made the standard joke about Bill's last name, consonant with the word Pio, die, or belonging to Pi.de, note. and we laughed graciously as if we'd never heard it before. Gwen had already been working at Wegmans for a year when she met Bill. When they married, Gwen told Bill that she would keep her maiden name for work. She told Bill that it would be easier than changing all her information in the system, and also, she wouldn't have to listen to a lot of tasteless jokes about her last name and anatomy. At work, her name was still Gwen Adams. Gwen was a walking wet dream. She and Bill had been married for 19 years, had 2 children, and she was still looked at everywhere she went. She was blonde, long-legged, and as Jack mentioned, Bill and I had been friends since high school. That fact, along with the fact that my wife had explained to me in great detail how she would rip my balls off with her bare hands if I ever strayed from the path of truth, kept me from trying to do anything more than just admire Gwen. I never thought she'd cheat on Bill. Apparently, it came as a complete surprise to him as well. Gwen and Bill introduced me to my future wife, Teresa, at their wedding. At the time, Teresa had just started working at Wegmans with Gwen. From the beginning, we seemed to hit it off pretty well. The following year, Teresa and I were married. We now had a son in 8th grade and a daughter in her sophomore year of high school. Teresa was good-looking and had a nice figure, but Gwen was the one that men just lusted after. I tried to put myself in Bill's shoes to imagine how he felt. Somehow I thought that knowledge would help me ease his burden a little. He must have been suffering, and I didn't know how to react. I liked both Gwen and Bill, and I wanted them to be happily married. Partly for selfish reasons. We did a lot of things together, and Gwen and Teresa had grown closer over the years. I was very happy with the status quo and didn't want to change it. They were my favorite friends, and I always wished them luck. It was kind of lame. I knew I would have been furious if Teresa had betrayed me. I never gave in to the temptations that came my way from time to time. Teresa often told me how bad my life would be if I ever gave slack. I never thought any woman was worth the risk of losing Teresa. I was sure she felt the same way. We didn't make hot monkey love every night, but we still enjoyed making love. Bill was just paying the price for having a very desirable wife. I knew that Gwen was constantly being hit on by men. I had seen quite a few examples of it, sometimes even when she was standing next to Bill. Maybe it was a good thing that my Teresa's legs weren't as long as Gwen's, and that her breasts weren't as big, and her face wasn't as young and showy. Teresa was my wife and the mother of our 2 children, and she looked just right. I will never suffer the pain that Bill was feeling now as he drove us home. Home! Oh, shit. What is he going to do when he gets home? Should I go to my place immediately and let him and Gwen deal with everything? What if he gets angry enough to hit Gwen? Should I stay to keep some semblance of order? Did I want to hear what would be said? Did I want to watch the possible demise of their marriage? Was it really that bad? I realized it would be a good idea to determine what Bill was thinking. I needed to talk to him. "Bill, talk to me, buddy," I began. "What are you thinking, and how are you going to act with Gwen when you get home? You know I can't let you do what you did to that asshole at the golf club. I need to know you can control your emotions." "I couldn't hit Gwen even if she cut my heart out with a gardening tool," Bill replied grimly. "Although I think that's exactly what she did. I've been thinking it over, and I've decided to pack up some things and check into a motel for a few days. I don't know if I can go through with it, Tom. It's a big deal. I had no idea she could do something like this to me and us. I have never cheated on her, and to this day I would bet my life that she would never cheat on me. God, that hurts so bad. Is there any way you can forgive her, Bill? I have no doubt she loves you to death. Leaving would crush her, Bill, even if she did. You know how guys are always hitting on her. That's one of the problems with marrying the most beautiful woman in this damn county." "Then how do you put up with it, Tom? How do you keep Teresa happy and faithful? How do you keep those damn hound dogs away from her? She's stunningly beautiful, and you two seem to be doing just fine, at least for now," Bill added. "Well, you have to admit that Teresa doesn't attract men the way Gwen does," I pointed out. "She's fine, of course, but she's not a walking dream like your wife. She just doesn't get thrown at as often as Gwen." "What the hell are you talking about?" Bill asked, looking at me like I had 2 heads. "Teresa is just hot. Any normal man would give his left arm to be in her bed. She has an incredible smile and just seems to exude sexiness. Even Gwen looks pretty pale next to Teresa." "Are you crazy? Gwen looks like a goddess. She's always so athletic, so tanned. Gwen is a real beauty, I said, almost in awe. I suddenly realized that I hated that asshole Jack almost as much as I hated Bill. Maybe that's why I accidentally stepped on his crotch as I pulled Bill away from his prostrate body. You must be blind or something, Tom. Teresa is incredible in every way. Gwen looks pretty good. I admit it, but you won the lottery when you picked up Teresa, Bill insisted. And besides, she's not a freaking cheater, and that's a real plus on my list. We were silent again, pondering what we had just revealed to each other. Bill thought Teresa was prettier than Gwen. I struggled with that thought. Gwen was breathtakingly beautiful. I never realized Bill felt that way about my wife. But, on the other hand, I had never admitted to him how hot I thought Gwen was. We were still silent as Bill turned into his neighborhood. We were both feeling the tension and showing all the signs of it. Well, naturally, Bill looked worse than I did, but my stomach twisted into a knot as well. I dreaded the next few minutes. As we pulled into the driveway, we immediately noticed several cars. I'd left mine there early that morning when I'd left with Bill. Behind my car was a dark maroon 1967 Pontiac Le Mans with a black convertible top. And right behind it was my wife's car. What the hell, Bill? Doesn't that look like that 3-speed Pontiac you used to have? Who the hell does this hottie belong to? I asked, climbing out of the passenger door before Bill brought the car to a complete stop. It's probably some asshole who's with Gwen while I'm out, Bill replied angrily, looking at the convertible. At that moment, the door of the house swung open, and Gwen and Teresa ran down the driveway with smiles as wide as the face of the Pontiac. Seeing Gwen, I went back to my business. She had no idea the trouble she was facing. As soon as I thought about it, my attention shifted to Teresa, who was walking happily toward me. I took a good look at her and studied her features and figure. She did look very good indeed. Perhaps Bill was right. She was just over 40, had given me 2 children, and I realized that she was very, very beautiful. How could I have thought Gwen was more attractive? As Teresa shortened the distance between us, I had the urge to drag her into the back seat of that fucking convertible and use its back seat for its intended purpose. I pulled Teresa against me, and Gwen said hello to Bill. "Happy birthday, Bill," Gwen cooed, hugging Bill's neck. "I've been looking for this car for your birthday, darling. I found it at Monticello a few weeks ago." When Gwen saw Bill's sour face and his frozen posture, she added, "Somehow you're not very happy about this, Bill." "You found her a few weeks ago?" "How many weeks ago, Gwen? Was that before or after that Friday and Saturday you spent in Syracuse at your fucking job?" Bill asked. "Why do you have that attitude, Bill?" Gwen asked. "It was that very weekend. I want to confess something to you. I didn't go to Syracuse. I went to Monticello to look at this car." Bill turned and looked at me. I couldn't help him since I was just as confused as he was. What the hell was that asshole Jack talking about if Gwen wasn't even in Syracuse that weekend? It didn't make any sense. He described Gwen exactly. "I had to mislead you so you wouldn't suspect something wrong, Bill," Gwen laughed. "I booked a ticket for this trip, but I never intended to go. I asked Teresa. I told her to tell Tom that she was going to visit her sister in Allentown that weekend. I figured she could use my room and eat and drink on the Wegmans tab. All she had to do was walk around with my name tag and pretend to be Gwen Adams. It was no big deal just asking a friend to make sure I had a special surprise for my wonderful husband on his birthday. You've never been to Syracuse?" shouted Bill, hugging Gwen and lifting her into the air. "God, I love you so much, Gwen. You're the best wife in the world. So it wasn't you, it was Teresa? Oh, shit. I felt like I'd been hit in the stomach with a sledgehammer. I was sweating and my whole body was shaking. I let go of Teresa and stumbled toward my car. Tears streamed down my cheeks. "Tom!" Teresa called out to me. "What's wrong? Why are you leaving? What the hell is going on?" I ignored her. Just as I went to open my car door, my stomach decided to vibe my dinner. I dropped to my knees and let it fly over Bill's manicured yard. Teresa was immediately at my side, stroking my shoulders and asking what was wrong. "I think I can bring you up to speed, Teresa," Bill said softly. "Everything has come to light. We ran into asshole Jack Andrews at the golf tournament today. He told us that he worked at Wegmans, that he'd attended a company meeting in Syracuse and turned the shit out of a blonde bimbo with a name tag for Gwen Adams. I left the bastard lying on the floor next to the bar. Tom even kicked him in the balls when he pulled me away from the prick so I wouldn't kill him. All the way home, we thought it was Gwen who slept with the poor bastard, but it turns out she didn't. It was you, Teresa, and I have to tell you I'm disappointed in you, but Tom is literally devastated. Now you're in the know, and I don't envy you one bit, Bill concluded. Did you think this guy was talking about me, Bill? Did you think I was cheating on you? I've got to take this damn car and get my money back. How could you ever think I'd do something like that? Have I ever given you any reason to think I've been unfaithful to you? Gwen loudly demanded an answer. Don't try to fool me, Bill replied. You lied to me. You said you were at that company meeting in Syracuse, and this guy said he slept with a beautiful blonde with your name on it. We all know that you and Teresa are by far the most beautiful women at Wegmans, or anywhere else for that matter, and you're both blondes. I know for a fact that you're a wildcat in bed, so why should I have doubted what he told us? Wow, you're right, Bill. Now I see why you were able to make that wrong assumption. Do you really think Teresa and I look good? Am I a wildcat? Gwen asked. I guess I owe you an apology for my little innocent lie and for wondering why you were so quick to jump to conclusions. Now I was trying to get my breakfast upstairs. I was overcome by dry vomiting, which seemed even more painful. I could hear Teresa crying, rubbing my shoulders. The part of my mind that was still working was thinking about how blind I was. Teresa really was a great and wonderful wife. I should have paid more attention to what she was doing and who she was doing it with. I should have kicked that bastard in the balls even harder. I realized that, although I tried to put myself in Bill's position when he thought his wife was cheating on him, I had no idea at all how much it hurt him, until now. I don't know how to tell you the rest of the story, Gwen ventured, so I think I'll let Teresa finish. Tom, listen to me, sweetheart. I'm guilty of lying to you, and I sincerely apologize for that, but I will never ever cheat on you. I love you with all my heart, Teresa sobbed. Gwen didn't have time to finish her story. I didn't go to Syracuse in her place. I turned down her offer. Instead, I went with her to Monticello to pick up Bill's car. Gwen convinced a new employee, Jessica Walters, to take her place. She had just transferred from Buffalo after a nasty divorce. She's blonde, but I don't think she's as hot as Gwen or me. My stomach immediately relaxed. I spit out every particle I could find in my mouth and slowly rose to my feet. Teresa stood beside me, breaking her arms and trying to smile through her tears. I had never seen her so beautiful and desirable. My breathing gradually slowed to normal as I wiped my eyes and mouth with the back of my palm. I bought you that brand new set of Nike golf clubs you've been admiring all last year, Tom. I was going to wait until your birthday next week to give them to you, but I'm going to try to earn some forgiveness here and now. They're in the trunk of my car. Would you like to see them, darling? Teresa asked nervously. They can wait a couple minutes, Teresa, I replied calmly. I must have had some bad seafood for dinner, but I feel better now. I never thought that jackass Jack was talking about you. I know you too well to think that. I have no idea why the hell Bill even suggested it. My stomach is giving me some trouble, and everyone is jumping to conclusions. There seems to be too much going on here for my poor stomach. Yes, indeed, laughed Bill. You didn't have fish for dinner, asshole. It was prime rib, and I ate the same thing you did. You didn't eat any of that. You didn't? I asked. Wasn't I standing next to you when you almost threw up your guts at that bus stop? We had something inside of us that we weren't comfortable with. Yeah, I would guess that the thought of staying married to a cheating woman is something that neither of you are comfortable with. Gwen laughed. Are you guys hungry now that your stomachs have cleared? Not me. It's almost dark. I'm going for a ride in my new car, topless, so to speak. Bill grinned. Anyone want to join me? I'd love to, Gwen laughed, nimbly stepping through the door and into the passenger seat as Bill took the wheel. If you two don't come with us, I'll see you later, but you'll be sorry you missed the first race, Gwen promised. I stood next to Teresa and watched as Bill moved the gear shift lever looking for reverse, then slowly released the clutch. Gwen's shirt landed at our feet before Bill could make a single move. Wow, look at Gwen, Teresa gasped. I am! And I have to admit, Bill was right about both things. You do have better breasts than Gwen, I admitted as Teresa wrapped her arms around my neck and whispered in my ear. The back seat is empty and we've been invited. The end!